I started learning coding about a week ago and decided to build my first project, a simple calculator. If you're new to the channel, my goal is to document my journey from complete beginner to employed developer. I've often heard that the best way to learn programming is to build projects instead of just watching tutorials, so that's exactly what I'm going for. Whenever I built a project, I thought that I want to keep the footage as authentic as possible and let you experience my thoughts alongside with me. This project itself isn't particularly sophisticated, but it helped me reinforce what I've learned so far. If you notice anything I could improve on, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. I'm also not sure yet whether I'll keep uploading project videos in their full length, like in this one, so let me know what you think of this format and what I could do to make it better. Anyway, enough talking, enjoy watching me struggle to build a calculator. Welcome to my first project. As you all know, I'm trying to learn how to program, and I've been at it for about a week now. And actually I've learned a lot throughout the last few days, and there's a couple of things that I would love to share with you. This is a live recording of me doing everything. I've done some research, and since I've decided to go on the backend development path, I actually found a coding boot camp that lets you start everything for free. So I've been at it for the last couple of days and it's been a lot of fun, just trying it out at the free version. And I have actually learned a lot of things that I would like to put into practice today by doing a little calculator, or at least I try to put it into practice by doing a calculator. More on the thing or the different platform I use to learn. I will probably do a separate video on that, but for now I am going to get everything that I've learned so far and put it into this calculator, or at least I try. I don't know if I succeed. I try to not use any AI or whatever to do what I do, but this is basically the platform that I've been using. It's called boot.dev and it's a designated learning platform for backend development, and as I said, it was a lot of fun. And let me just quickly go at what I've learned so far. So as you can see, I've learned about functions and how to define a function and how to return a value within a function. But I have also learned about variables so far and how to do basic calculations as variables, and I have also learned about f-strings, for example, which gave me the idea of maybe applying this in terms of a calculator, as I said. Yeah, I don't have a script or anything right now. I'm basically just kind of freestyling it. And yeah, let's see if what I learned so far can be used to make a calculator. By the way, something I had to watch a ton of tutorials to actually set up and make it look the way it does and install Python and everything, but it works. I tried printing this little hi guys thing and it kind of works, as you can see here. If I run it, it says hi guys, and it's working so far, so let's just stick with it the way it is. My idea is we can use functions and give them something called parameters. Let's say I define a function which just adds, let's call it add, and whenever it's called, which I had to ask ChatGPT for so long to actually like make everything click and understand what calling actually means, and all these terms that I try to use. I might completely misuse them right now, but that's like totally fine. As I said, I'm still learning, so if you have any input, or maybe if I misuse anything that I'm actually using right now, please let me know. But here we go. We have the add function, which takes two parameters. We're using terminology here, guys. Let's call them A and B. And we can give a value. Let's say we call it result. Result equals to A plus B. And then we have to return the result. I didn't quite understand what the difference between returning and printing is. So if any one of you knows, please let me know. All I know is that if I define a function, I'm using return, and then it works. And now let's say we have a value, or the values that we want to add into these a and b parameters. So basically when we call the function, we have to input two values, a and b, and these values get added together and we return the result. And this result is actually what we are trying to print out in the end. So how could we do this? How can I add two values to this? Okay, let's first use some set values before we work with any inputs and just see if this works. Let's say we call it result, and it equals to the add function that we call with the values of 5 and let's say 3. And if we then print result, it should show us 8, because this result variable calls the add function, and these two parameters, the 5 and the 3, are being added into the add function. They are getting calculated together and returned as a result. And that is what we're trying to print here. So let's see if this actually works. Ah, wait, I have to save this. Okay, let's see if this actually works. And it doesn't. What's missing? Ah, okay, I missed this colon here. Let's save again and try. And yeah, it works. You see? It works. If I call this function, it actually calculates the parameters that we, in this case, put in here, and gives me the result. So if I change this to a 4, it should give us a 9. Okay, so basically this works. This works. This is already a big deal to me. Okay, it works. If we now do the following. We want this to be flexible, and we've learned from our Python mock learning platform, we've learned how to use inputs, and that these are the data types of integers. So instead of forcing the code to use these numbers, we want to actually add or create two variables, which is variables I learned about in the also in the mock program, but also in the boot.dev bootcamp that I'm doing right now. So what we have is we give this we create two variables, number 1 and number 2, and we set them to an integer input. And this input is, let's say, enter number 1, and then the second one would be integer input enter number 2, and then instead of these numbers here, we add the number 1 and the number 2. This means that when we input a number, in this case an integer, into this input, which is saved in this variable should go into this number here, or this parameter here, and this variable should go into this parameter here. And then we call the function with these two newly added integers, and it should calculate the result to us. This should still be fine as it is. And if we call the function... wait, we need to save this again. If we call it, it doesn't work. Okay, I already heard that. You should prepare yourself for code not working the way it's supposed to be, but name number one is not defined, but I defined it. Okay, now I get it. Okay, because it goes top down. The program is always read from the top to the bottom. If we delete these and we add this, or we do it like that, and of course we save it. Yeah, it works. I can add a number now. Let's say number 5, and then I can add another number. Let's say 1, 6. Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay, good. It works. The add function works. We're already one step closer to our calculator working. But what I would like to do now is actually add an f string here. An f string, as I learned, is basically a string. So if I do it like that, it doesn't work. Like, okay, basically we have a string. This should not work because it just prints result. It should just print result no matter what we actually input, because we are printing we're printing not a variable, we are printing the string here. But an f string actually gives us the possibility to input different data types in one string by putting them in this kind of, I don't know what to call them in English, eckige Klammer, I think we call them in German. I might be wrong as well. But yeah, now it should work as before. The difference being, yeah, it just works. The difference being is we can still add a string before that. So your number, let's do it. The result is result. Okay. We saved it and let's run it. 3, 5, the result is 8. Yeah, you see. Now we have the string, the result is, which is coded here, and the variable that we create by adding this function, basically, here. So the add function already works. Let's clear this. By the way, yeah, I also did a little Linux and terminal tutorial that shows me just to how you can actually delete stuff from here or navigate a little bit. I still don't really understand it. All I know is that if I type in CLS, I don't even know what it stands for. It deletes everything that we have here. And that's also how I know how to run this file, actually. Hoppala. Okay. So, okay, it works. The result is 12. Okay, yeah, perfect. Now, what we basically want to do is do the same thing for subtraction, division, and multiplication. Let's just say subtraction, then division, and then multiplication. It should be fine. We don't even need to change it. We just need to figure out a way how to actually call the... Okay, my thinking here is, how do we tell the program that we want to add, subtract, divide, or multiply? So which function to actually call? The functions themselves should work like that. Oh wait, no, I need to change the operator as well. Here division is this, and the result is, oh no, here the multiplication is multiplication. Okay, let's just try, let's just call, let's say multiplication. And if we save this and start the program again, 5 times 5 should be 25. Yeah, it works. Okay, I think it should not be a problem with all the other functions as well. But how do we tell the program which function to take? Huh. I mean, we could maybe use... Could we maybe do it like this if we use like... let's say we use calc. Oh, not calc, we define a variable called calc, which equals to a string input, which is, do you want to add, subtract, divide, or multiply? Okay, and then we can maybe use an if calc equals to add we can wait, this is, should it be like this? Okay, yeah, let's try. Okay, no, this needs to be a string, right? This needs to be a string. Then we call the... Oh, wait. We first need to... This has to go here. We already established that we have to go from top to bottom. Then this can go away. But if we say if calc equals to add, then we call this add function, right? We have to call add. And then, okay, we can delete this. We still print the result. Result equals add number 1, 2. So, okay. So if my thinking here is if we input the string add, this one, then the program knows that we should turn, or we should put these numbers, the input 1 and input 2, or number 1 and number 2, into the add function here. So this means that if I start the program, do you want to add, subtract? Okay, yeah, it works. Okay, remind me to, this is triggering my ADHD. This needs to go away. Add, and enter number 1, 5, 5, and the result is 10. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, yeah, nice. Let's say subtract, enter number 1, 5, 5, and it gives us an error. Oh yeah, perfect, because we didn't define the others. Yeah, perfect. Nice. Okay, so let's try to do it by doing 4 more of these. Let's say subtract. If we type in exactly subtract, then we call the subtract function here. Okay, let's do divide. We call the diff function diff. And if we do multiply, then we call the mul function. Okay, let's save this. Let's clear this. And let's run it. Do you want to add, subtract, or multiply? Let's try subtract. Enter number 1, 5 minus 2 should be 3. And it's working! Hey, it's working, it's working, okay. Okay, let's call it, let's try it again. Let's try multiply 5 times 5 equals 25, perfect. And then when we try divide, not divide, then let's say 3 divided by 3 should be 1.0. This is giving us a float. Is there a reason why it gives us a float? Why is it giving us a float here? A float is basically a number with a float is basically a number with a decimal. So this is an integer because it has no decimal. And this is a float. But why is it giving us a float? That's the function. I mean, this is for division, right? Okay, wait, actually, it might not be a bad idea to use a float instead of an integer for our inputs, because this way we should be able to also use decimal numbers, right? Let's say we add 3.5 plus 2.5, it should give us 6.0. Yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah, I think this is actually not bad. I think a float is better because then we can also use the other numbers or decimal numbers. Wait, I'm actually interested. What does happen if we use integers and then we try to add decimal numbers? Wait, let me clear this again. Oh, damn. Okay, yeah, let me clear this again. Now these are, the variables are now, and the inputs are basically integers, but if we put in, yeah, okay, it gives us an error if we use like a decimal number here. So yeah, I think a float is a better idea. Float. Float. Okay, yeah. It should still work the same way at 1.1. It's 2.0. Okay, perfect. Yeah. But still, I'm still curious why, when we put an integer here, the whole thing or the result. Okay, let's do it again. Let's. I know I'm going back and forth a lot, but just to visualize. Okay, here. If we run it and we say divide, let's say 4 and 2, the result is 2.0. I mean, we have declared these as these inputs as integers. Why is it giving us a float when I divide? Does anyone know? I mean, the only explanation I could have is because of the operator we were using, but I'm not sure about it. So if anyone has an idea, please let me know. Maybe I'll check on it later myself. But yeah, I mean, for now it's fine. Let's say float. Let's say float. Let's save. And yeah, we can subtract. Number 1 is 5 minus, let's go into negatives this time. 8 is minus 3. Okay, yeah, perfect. So the calculator is actually working fine, isn't it? Yeah, it basically, if we run it, it basically gives us, or it asks us if we want to add, subtract, divide, or multiply. I mean, it's not perfect, because like a usual calculator has a lot more functions than that. Especially being able to add in more than just one number or 2 numbers. Can we make it so that we can add more than one number? I mean, then we need to define the function so that it takes x parameters. It should be able to take x parameters and not just 2 or n parameters. But I don't think I know how to do that, at least for now. And I think it's okay. The state we're at right now is totally okay, I think. I'm actually quite proud of myself because what we have done here is basically I've learned how to make like how to define functions, how to add parameters, and how to return the result. As I said, I still don't understand the difference between return and print. So if you can enlighten me, please let me know. Then what we also did is how to declare variables. We have learned how to add a data type into an input. We have a string, and here we have a float, and how to take these inputs and check which function to call by using an if statement, and then print it via an f string with a text and the result at the end. And we have a working calculator, at least for 2 inputs and only addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. But it works so far. I'm actually super proud. Yeah, if you watched until here, thank you so much. This was all completely freestyled. Let me know what you think about this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. And yeah, see you in the next video.